One of these three AI models makes things up 51% of the time, and it's the one topping the front-end code arena leaderboards right now, even though rivals still lead the other big coding benchmarks. Now, picture handing that to your portfolio. By the end of this video, you'll know which of these three that you could actually trust with your money, and which one is a confident liar in a very nice suit. My name is Lewis, and welcome to the AI Bureau. Now, if getting this one right matters to you, do me a favor and just tap that like button and hit subscribe. Our research team spends its days pulling these models apart on real financial work so that you don't have to gamble your savings finding out the hard way. And today, that's exactly what we did. Now, here's the thing about mixing AI and money. The real danger is a wrong answer delivered with total confidence, because you simply won't catch it. And this isn't theory. In the last year, Deloitte handed a government a 237-page report stuffed with fake citations and a court quote that never even existed, then had to refund part of a $440,000 contract. KPMG pulled a report where 40 to 45 citations were simply fabricated. And EY withdrew a cybersecurity report after investigators found most of its 27 citations were fabricated or broken, including a reference to a McKinsey study that didn't even exist. These are firms with enormous budgets and entire compliance departments, and AI walked right past all of them. One estimate put global losses from AI hallucinations at over $67 billion in a single year. Go back a little further, and Google's chatbot stated one wrong fact about a telescope and helped wipe over $100 billion off its parent company's value in a day. Or take Air Canada, whose chatbot invented a refund policy that didn't even exist, and when a customer held them to it, a tribunal ruled that the airline was liable for what its own AI made up. The lesson there is blunt. When the AI lies, you own the lie. Now, shrink all of that down to you at your desk making a call on a stock. That's the stakes. So we took the three models everyone's arguing about and ran them through the same financial tasks. So let me introduce you to the contenders. First, we have Claude Fable 5 from Anthropic. This is the premium, reliability-first play. It sits at number 1 on the intelligence index with a score of 60, and its real edge is spreadsheets. It plugs straight into Excel and Microsoft 365 and actually builds working financial models. The price? $10 per million tokens going in, $50 going out, which makes it the most expensive of the three by a wide margin. Second is ChatGPT. Running the GPT 5.6 model they've nicknamed Sol. Number 2 on the intelligence index at 59, right on Fable's heels. This is the business operations workhorse. It connects to a large and growing library of business apps, including Salesforce and Slack, and it can take actions across them, not just chat, though the exact number of integrations isn't independently confirmed. The price is $5 in, $30 out. Third is Kimi K3 from the Chinese lab Moonshot, the budget wildcard. It's set to become open weight on July 27. It tops some coding leaderboards like the front-end code arena, and it can hold 1 million tokens of context at once. It's also the cheapest of the lot, $3 in, $15 out. And that's the one that makes things up half of the time. Which brings us to the whole point of this video. Reliability is the entire ballgame, and everything else is a footnote next to it. Independent testing put Kimi K3's hallucination rate at 51%, while its previous version sat at 39%. So the newer, more hyped model actually got worse. Now, here's the part that should bother you. Its raw accuracy went up at the same time. So it gets more answers right, and fabricates more answers with total confidence, meaning roughly 1 in every 2 facts it states could be invented. Would you let that manage your money? Fable 5 and Sol are both built enterprise first, with reliability as the actual selling point, and Fable even shows you the exact cell and the exact source a number came from. Kimi wasn't built for any of that. It was built for coding, and it's generally brilliant at it. But brilliant at code and safe with your savings are two completely different jobs. Now, one honest note before we go further. There are no published finance-specific benchmarks for any of these three models yet. No finance bench score, nothing standardized to point at. And that's exactly why we tested them ourselves. Because when nobody's grading the exam, the only way to know is to sit the models down and watch them work. So that's exactly what we did. 2 tasks, same prompts, all 3 models. Task 1, an investing job. Analyze a company's 10K filing and pull the numbers into a simple valuation. Task 2, a business job. Draft a financial projection in a spreadsheet. Watch what happens. Picture the setup. You drop a company's annual report into each model and ask one plain question. What was the operating margin last year? And is the stock cheap on those numbers? Fable opens the file, finds the figures, and shows you the exact line they came from. Sol handles it competently, and because it's more token efficient, it often gets there using fewer resources. Kimi produces something that looks fine, and that right there is the trap. On the spreadsheet task, Fable pulled away instantly, actually building a working model with live formulas that reference each other. On the industry's Excel modeling benchmark, Fable leads the field at 73.7%. But here's what the benchmark data actually tells you. Even the winning model passes only about 63% of the pure number checks, while the formulas and the layout look 80 to 88% correct. Meaning the file can look completely professional and still have the wrong numbers buried inside of it. Now, stack that on top of Kimi at a 51% hallucination rate. On the 10K task, the real danger is getting a clean, confident figure that was never in the filing. A made-up revenue number sitting in a beautiful table. That's the nightmare. Which raises the obvious objection. Kimi is the cheapest, so surely for a solo investor it's worth the gamble. Well, let's do that math honestly, because the hype gets it badly wrong. Kimi isn't 100 times cheaper than the premium option. On output, it's $15 against Fable's $50. So that's roughly 3 times cheaper. A solid discount, but they're still in the same ballpark. And when you measure real cost per task, the gap shrinks even more. Roughly $1.80 for the premium tier against $0.94 for Kimi. Less than double. And that reframes the whole decision, because that top price for Fable acts as an insurance premium against bad data, while Kimi remains a gamble. Fable at the top price is the premium you pay so that the numbers are right. Kimi is the bet that they will be. And there's a cost nobody even prices in. If you save 3 times on tokens but spend 10 times longer checking every figure by hand, you didn't save a thing. You lost money and you got a headache. For a solo founder, that gamble might be survivable, but for a firm handling client money, it's indefensible. Now, before I get to the final call, I just want to mention that if breaking these tools down like this is useful to you, then the AI Bureau newsletter is completely free and it shows you exactly how to use this once-in-a-generation tech to its full potential. So if you want to sign up for that, just click the link down in the description or just scan the QR code that's on the screen. And now let's get back to the final benchmark. There's one more mark against Kimi worth a single line. Moonshot has already faced scrutiny over its data practices, which is the kind of compliance flag firms handling clients' money simply cannot ignore. And banking regulators have already started writing AI risk rules for finance, turning cheap and unverified tools into a serious liability. So, who actually wins? Well, the honest answer is the satisfying one. It depends entirely on what you're doing. If your work lives in spreadsheets and documents, deep valuation models, reading filings, building projections, well, then it is Claude's Fable 5. It reads your files directly, builds real formulas, and shows you its sources. That's the one for accuracy. If you're running cloud business operations and you're already inside the OpenAI ecosystem, it's ChatGPT Sol. Its deep library of connectors means that it plugs into the tools that you already use and takes action across them. And fewer things to re-enter by hand means fewer places to introduce an error. And if you're technical, cost-sensitive, self-hosting, and coding-heavy, well, that is when Kimi K3 has a place. But only with a human checking every single output. Never on autopilot. And also with that comes a reality check. Self-hosting it needs over a terabyte of memory. So for a normal person, that isn't really an option anyway. So here's the rule that I'd carry out of all of this. The smartest model on the leaderboard is not the best model for your money. And that's the trap the entire industry walks into. Everyone chases a top benchmark score, but a benchmark measures how clever a model is on a good day. It doesn't measure how often it lies to you on a bad one. And for anything touching your portfolio, the lying is the only number that counts. As some financial analysts put it, AI is fundamentally designed to give answers that fit your questions, regardless of the truth. That's the whole thing. When it hallucinates, it is simply guessing with extreme fluency, and research argues that guessing can never be fully stripped out of these models. It's baked into how they work. So the safest rule is brutally simple. If the AI can't point you to the exact page of the source for a number, treat that number as unverified every single time. And one last honest caveat, and that is that none of these three has a verified real-time market data feed. They all lean on web search, which means that they could serve you stale prices with a completely straight face. None of them is a Bloomberg terminal, so don't let any of them convince you otherwise. And there you have it. 3 models, 1 real decision. Claude Fable 5, the reliability premium. The pick for deep spreadsheets and document work. ChatGPT Sol, the business operations workhorse for anyone living in the cloud. And Kimi K3, the cheap, powerful coder that fabricates half of what it tells you, only safe with a human on the wheel. Claude does seem to be the winner, but ChatGPT definitely has its place as well. For most people managing their own money, it's Fable 5 for accuracy, and only Kimi if you can babysit it. And whatever you pick, you should definitely treat it as a brainstorming tool and verify every number against the primary source before making any real decisions. But I want to hear from you now. Which of these 3 would you actually trust with your portfolio? The expensive one that gets it right, or the cheap one that you'd have to double check line by line? Or do you use something else? Let me know down in the comments, because I read every single one. And if this saved you from an expensive mistake, show that like button some love and subscribe, because we break down this technology every single week. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. This is Lewis, signing off.